Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Triple Play Analytics. My name is Sasank, and I'll be your host today. Today, we're looking at a San Antonio Spurs player, my favorite basketball team. We're looking at LaMarcus Aldridge. And LaMarcus Aldridge is actually extremely important for the Spurs and for really the NBA because we see the revival and the comeback of confidence in a player who was put into a bad situation. So LaMarcus Aldridge, before we talk about his previous situation, he's a center, power forward. He's just a big man. He's 6'11", 260. He's a right-handed shooter. He plays for the San Antonio Spurs and previously for the Portland Trailblazers, and he was drafted in 2006, second overall. So why is he important? Why is he important to look at and analyze? Well, during the summer, he requested a trade away from the Spurs. You heard me right. He wanted to move away from the NBA's model of consistency in the San Antonio Spurs. That's because he was put into situations where he didn't feel comfortable playing, and it didn't benefit him or the team. He had hearts to heart. He had a lot of heart to hearts with Coach Greg Popovich, and Popovich admitted that he had overcoached him and put LaMarcus Aldridge in situations that did not benefit his play style. So it seemed that, LaMarcus Aldridge and the Spurs were at a lose-lose situation for how he was being played. And now this becomes even more important because of the Kawhi Leonard injury that happened during the Western Conference Finals last year. So with Kawhi being injured and still out, it makes sense that LaMarcus Aldridge now has to be the go-to guy for scoring on the Spurs. Well, when your go-to scorer wants to leave, you need to rethink your offensive strategy. That's what happened. The Spurs and Greg Popovich primarily rethought the offensive strategy to put LaMarcus Aldridge back in his scoring position, which is closer to the net, and not moving him around everywhere. And that's not only helped him offensively, but also somewhat defensively. So let's look at a few trends we have. First, the time period I looked at was January 8th to February 10th in both 2018 and 2017. So in 2018, that's 15 games, and in 2017, that's last season, that's 14 games. So over this time span, the Spurs this season went 7-8. Last year, they went 10-4. So we can already see, without Kawhi Leonard, the Spurs are losing more. They don't have that much offensive power in LaMarcus Aldridge, but those losses have been pretty close losses. The Spurs shouldn't have lost a few of them just because they have much younger players playing. Now, if we look at some trends, the trends I looked at were scoring attempts or shooting, passing, blocks, assists, and also his effective shooting and his effectiveness with the ball. So if we look at his scoring, LaMarcus Aldridge is scoring more in general. He's on a steady trend, averaging 22.3 points per game, and he's also scoring at least 6 points more than he did last year. Last year, he was scoring 16.6 points per game, which is pretty abysmal compared to the fact that 2-3 seasons ago, he was averaging a double-double per game. With Portland on his last season there, he was averaging 23 points per game. Last season, he averaged 17. 2 seasons ago, he averaged 18. LaMarcus Aldridge used to be a 20-point per game scorer. When he came to the Spurs, he was put in a disadvantaged situation where he couldn't. Now he's refound that scoring touch and refound his confidence, and that can be seen with his scoring attempts. Now, currently, LaMarcus Aldridge is taking around about 17, 18 shots per game, and at least half of those are falling. Now let's compare that to last season, where he's taking 14 shots per game, and less than half of them are falling. He's taking almost 15 shots in 2017 per game, and less than half are falling, while he's taking almost 18 shots this season, and over half of them are falling. So he's taking more shots, he's more confident in his ability to score, and it's turning out to be better because he's putting up more points. Passing-wise, LaMarcus Aldridge is passing the ball a bit more. He's really bought into the Spurs, team first offense. You can see there's an increasing trend, a very small one, in his assist rate. Block-wise, he's still averaging a bit over a block per game, which is perfectly fine. He's not, their defensive go-to guy like Kawhi Leonard. He's more of their offensive powerhouse now. Rebounds, he's still averaging, he's averaging around 7, 8 rebounds a game. That's nowhere close to where he was averaging in Portland, where he was averaging 10, 11 rebounds per game. But that's because, once again, LaMarcus Aldridge is not the Spurs' go-to defense guy or offensive rebounding guy. They have Joffrey Laverne and Pau Gasol for that. And finally, his effective shooting. Effective shooting takes into account weighing three-point shots a bit more because they're worth 1.5 times more than a normal field goal. Well, last year, during that 14-game span, he was effectively shooting a 43.8%. That's still pretty bad for effective shooting. Now, this year, he's effectively shooting almost 54% with a 53.9%. That is much better, and that shows a lot more confidence. So at the end of the day, we're seeing that LaMarcus Aldridge has refound confidence in his game because he's now put into more situations that allows him to take better shots. He's shooting now down near the post, down low, where he can, turn his back, maybe make, a double move and drive to the net and draw a foul, or he can just turn around and take a jump shot. And also, he's helping the young Spurs grow, which is good for him because he gets more help down low, and also it's good for the Spurs. So now, LaMarcus Aldridge went from a lose-lose situation to a win-win situation. Thank you very much for watching. You might not see an episode next week as I will be having a right shoulder surgery. So next time you see me might be in a week and a half or two, and I'll be in a sling. But expect another stat-driven, fact-driven analysis. Thanks.